First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
Scott Flansburg. Okay, questions. Is it? Do you, when you say, is it possible that the IDA in Herkimer has an investor that's willing to spend a lot of money to take the building versus you're offering what, $300,000 for the building? Or
no, we're ready to remediate the building completely, redevelop it, and turn it into a STEM learning center for students on the first floor.
And you're saying that what you're doing will be far more beneficial than whatever they're planning for.
Well, they're talking about tearing it down to put in medium-income housing. Herkimer downtown doesn't need any more of that.
Yeah.
The Quackenbush factory is symbolic of the industrial and innovative nature of Herkimer and all the successes they did have back 50, 100 years ago. And the Quackenbush STEAM Learning Center would also attract the community foundation to invest and become a part of the village of Herkimer, which they haven't had an opportunity to do. So it's going to be, I can't imagine they have another developer that wants to do that, but they've promised us that building for several times and the village. And for some reason, they won't allow the village in there to do the due diligence to accept the building. They just want them to take it as is, I guess. So it's just normal procedure they're asking for, and it's turned into a conundrum. And we're paralyzed. We've come to a roadblock, and that's why I had to come here this morning.
Andrew, have we reached out to Bono?
Yes, he was not able to join us this morning.
Because I'd like to get his take. Because no offense, but we're taking one side of the story. I'd love to have the two of you at the same time. I can tell you right now, we'd solve this whole problem. If I get the two of you in a room, we can solve the problem.
Well, I've
invited the Palestinians and Israel. And
they're a little busy.
They have not taken us up on the offer.
Well, if you get the Herkimer thing done, they might call you.
They might.
Because this is so complex.
All right.
Quick question. Your thoughts on this. Does this kind of have a little bit of a feel of the downtown hospital? You have an old dilapidated building. A guy wants to come in and says, this can be restored and repaired. You have basically a development agency saying, no, we've already found a new purpose for this. The deal is done. You're too late to the park. You should have invested in this a few years ago.
I think it's different, and because they didn't have the downtown hospital group didn't have a specific plan, right? There will be organic development. You're saying you have a plan. You know exactly what you're going to do with the building. If you get that building, now you want it given to you, though, right? And then how
anything. I told Mr. Bono the other day. He goes, "What about a quick claim deed?" I said, "I'll be over to sign it right now if that's an option." We have offered every way and any way. As far as money goes, they did say one day that it might be worth some money, but they didn't. They offered it to the village for $40, and the village wants to give it to us. To the Herkimer 9.
And the problem with the building is there would be a great deal of cleanup, I'm assuming.
We have a survey done that was done a couple of years ago, and it's less than $500,000. And then we would, customize the building for the STEAM Learning Center and for the business incubator on the top floor. But it's still a very viable building. It's got strong.
Is this the building? I guess I don't know where this. I hate to say it, but I grew up there. And I don't know where the building is. Is this behind the old Montgomery Ward?
Exactly. Okay. The big red
And what's
brick.
in there now? There used to be things inside there, businesses.
Well, no, it was always the Quackenbush factory where they made nutcrackers and everything else in there.
Okay.
So they shut that down about 15 years ago, and that lawsuit has been going on ever since.
So there's been nothing in the building since then?
Everybody's just letting it fall into the ground.
All right.
And just the other night, the LW Bill School, which is right across the street from this one, that had the first high school basketball game ever, had a fire. And luckily, the mayor was walking out of the village offices and smelled smoke, saw the flames, ran over to the fire department, and they were there in 2 minutes.
Wow.
And they saved that building. It was a shed connected to the back. But 5 more minutes and the school would have been in flames. So those buildings need to be treated. But nothing's happened to any of them on Main Street. And if you drive down Main Street in Herkimer, you can get an idea that nothing is being done.
It'd be a great place
there.
to make a movie.
It feels like it's
it'd be an after
tumbleweed.
Well, no, I think I'd go with after like a nuclear disaster. I hate to say it. I mean,
what we're trying to do, Bill.
I'm not trying to be mean, but the days of sitting and having a meal outside on the sidewalk at the Green Street Cafe are gone.
Gone. And just so you know, our Herkimer 9 Foundation, our goal is to revitalize all of Main Street. That is the county seat of Herkimer,
right?
And it's 100 feet away from the county office building. And that is what's happening there. So nobody's doing anything. We're offering to do their job for them as well as ours of restoring these. And the basketball. The basketball team starts in November. It's called the Herkimer Originals. We're an ABA, American Basketball Association team. Herkimer College is hosting us. Steve Ponte signed on as our. He's going to be one of our partners, and he already bought 2,000 tickets to give out to all the basketball teams around the Mohawk Valley.
That's cool.
Just to get started. So our board is really stepping up. Bruce Bull and his wife Franny, and all these other board members, Renee Sheldo-Shavat, Steve Ponte, one of the Mr. Basilow's on our board. We have an incredible board that is ready to do this. And we met last week, and we reached out to everybody in our network to see what we could do to help loosen the grip here in Herkimer County, and it'll give us a chance to revitalize Main Street and tell this basketball story.
All right. I mean, at the very least, you have a plan to do something with Main Street, and you also those are big names from the valley, and credible names. Yeah,
I mean, it's a miracle, and one of our board members is a senator who's the great grandson of Lambert Will, the kid who created all this basketball stuff.
Yeah,
and he's trying to get this story straightened out because his family was in the Hall of Fame 30 years ago, and they can't seem to find that display anymore. They can't get their memorabilia back. So we're working on a lot of different fronts.
All right. So in conclusion, what do you want to see happen? You want the county to say, we're going to give it to the village, and the village is going to give it to you.
That's it. Keep it that simple. The IDA just needs to follow through with what they've promised us, them, and everybody else and everywhere else, and let the village have the building, and the village and the Herkimer 9 will work out the rest.
And what do you plan on doing with the old jail?
The old jail is beautiful. They just got a bunch of money to restore that. And
is it the old jail or the courthouse? The old courthouse.
The old jail is 1834.
Okay, but which one do you have? Did you pay the dollar for?
The big red courthouse on the
courthouse.
And what we're doing is with these forensic experts that are going through all of this evidence, we have curated over 500 documents that legitimize the Basilow basketball book, and we'll be using that courthouse to display all this evidence for basketball fans to come to Herkimer and see how this story unravels.
Okay, all right.
Thanks for your time, guys.
Kind of almost like you're trying to pull off. It's not the same, but I would compare it to what the Beekman boys there did down in Sharon Springs.
It just came up the other day. Thank you. And Jeff, you made a good point. I am doing a documentary on this. That was my original thing. Was just I'm going to do a documentary and buy the parking lot where this YMCA was and rebuild that. It was going to cost me like $500,000, and that was it. Yeah. And now it's turned into a $50 million project with a 5,000-seat arena we're trying to fit into Herkimer to tell this story and, promote our ABA basketball team. But you guys, just thanks for giving me this much airtime, especially.
All right.
And I didn't want to come on in a negative tone, but something, nothing changes if nothing changes.
Okay.
And Herkimer needs to change. So I appreciate your time.
Okay. We'll be speaking with Pizak and Bono, I hope, tomorrow.
I'm available if you would need me on the phone.
Okay, cool. Scott Flansburg, quickly show them how you do your numbers. The numbers are just incredible.
Yeah, so my Guinness World Record is counting by a number. So, Jeff, bring up your calculator and punch in a 2-digit number. Don't even let me see it.
Okay.
Big, tough, weird number, right? And then hit plus. And then hit the same. That's okay.
You pick a number here. I'm not going to do well on this. 2-digit number.
14.
Bigger, tougher.
Come on. 63.
Okay, so do 63 plus 63 equals. I'm going to count by 63, and you just hit equals and keep up with me. You ready?
Okay.
126, 189, 252, 315, 315, 378, 441, 504, 567, 630, 693, 756, 819, 882, 945, 1,000, 8,071, 1134, 1197, 1260, like that. I'm in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Unbelievable.
I'm so tuned into numbers, and we're having the National Counting Bee in Herkimer on November 9th. First inaugural National Counting Bee. It's like a spelling bee, but a counting bee. You can download it for free. It's a free contest. Hopefully the schools will sign up, practice over the summer. But and October 2nd is the Herkimer County Cabbage Festival, because the first chapter of the Basilow book, the reason Lambert Will...
Cabbage Festival?
Yeah.
What is a cabbage festival?
The reason Lambert Will invented basketball in Herkimer, with the story that Basilow book tells, he had to sort cabbage for his mom for coleslaw. He had to throw the hard ones into this basket and soft ones into this basket so she could, use the ones.
Yeah.
And he then was he was at the general store, and there was a basket, and he grabs a cabbage and started throwing them in there, just messing around. And other people tried it. His buddies tried it. He goes, hey, maybe I got something. So he invited 2 teams of baseball to the YMCA the next day, and they put a basket up, and they used a medicine ball, and then they tried other balls over the next couple months.
Was it a cabbage basket?
Yeah, it was actually a apple basket.
An apple basket. They were
supposed to use a peach basket, but they didn't have one.
Okay.
And so that's how that started. And Lambert Wills actually realized they didn't need the bottom of the basket, so they took it out. Then they put a metal rim around the basket because it kept falling apart to support it, and they realized they didn't need the basket, so they had the rim, and then his mother knitted the first net, and she's known as the Betsy Ross of basketball.
Wow.
And,
That is wild.
and the first game was on February 7th, 1891, which is the reason it so sticks in the history of Herkimer is because that was Lambert Will's mother's birthday, and he did it intentionally. And we found an affidavit signed by Lambert Will in the 1950s authenticating everything in Basilow's book that he did send all this into Springfield and never heard back. So it's a crazy story. It'll be a fun documentary, hopefully a movie. But right now, we just got to save the village of Herkimer so people have somewhere to go when they do see the movie.
I have somebody was asking about that. So that all came out of the apple basket thing. All came out of Herkimer.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Okay, and then someone else is asking: are you getting any federal money? Is there any grants or anything involved in what you're doing?
Not yet. We will be submitting for all those grants, but until you have site control, you really can't submit for any grants. So that's why we're fighting so hard for the Quackenbush and the Palmer House.
And then I have someone else asking, it's amazing how you count and how quickly you do it. Can you count backwards? Can you subtract?
Yeah, I do. Actually, at the World Records, we had to do there's 8 different formats you have to do. So, yeah, it's fun. Great
It's a lot more
question,
impressive
though.
than wrapping your wife in a mitt in 20 seconds.
That is definitely impressive. By the way, student loans have been on hold. Payments are about to come back due. Did you know that?
I thought mine was November.
It might be November.
So I just want to tell you guys,
if you could make our student loans go backwards,
that's a brilliant idea.
That would be really helpful.
I just wanted you guys to know you're all invited to the first Herkimer Originals game at Herkimer College.
All right,
It'll be
cool.
in November. I'll send you all the information, but hope you guys can make it. All right. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Great stuff, Scott. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You have a great day and good luck.